What's going on, Cancer? And welcome to the Chariot Friends. Justin here, and I hope you're feeling emotionally balanced today. Cancer, I know that's very specific, but with where the moon's at, it's appropriate. For those of you who are returning, welcome back, Soul Tribe. I appreciate your subscriptions, your likes, and shares. Your support really is just phenomenal, Cancer, and it keeps us growing. And for those of you who are new, welcome. I'm happy how yourself has brought you here. We're in for an amazing journey. Now, the purpose of this channel, for those of you who have Cancer in your placement, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, Mars, maybe even Pluto, Cancer. Sidebar, I was reading in a book the other day, I want to say Neil Armstrong has Pluto in Cancer. There's a couple, that was an interesting time. When Pluto's in a water sign, it's so fascinating. But yes, yes, I'll talk about, wherever, Cancer. This one's for you. And I do tarot card spreads based upon ruler, well, actually, based upon, where was she at? Ruler here, the good old moon. She was over there for me, Cancer, and then she moved over here, facing this direction when I woke up earlier today. So, in Cancer, how are you still kind of, because I know we're still kind of coming off from that eclipse energy, so how have you been feeling? Have you been checking in with yourself, just making sure with all the stuff that's been going on, Cancer, that you're be mindful of your energies? But we'll talk actually a little bit more about that today there too, Cancer. But just so you're all aware, this is a general reading. This episode I go off script, Cancer. General reading, not a one-to-one. So take what resonates with you, leave the rest with me. Never force a reading on a situation, and everything will be dope, Cancer. Let's jump into it. I was like, I'm just talking your head up there, Cancer. Let's just get into this thing. Actually, let's pull this down a little bit. And Cancer, your space has been cleansed. Crystals, feeling lovely. Great angel around here, Cancer. And Cancer, happy Jupiter Day. Hopefully you're feeling expansive, Cancer. This is a great day for sharing any sort of like knowledge that you have, Cancer. This could be a great energy too, I feel, for just like with Mercury Day. Both of those days are very kind of intellectual type of days, or well, with Jupiter is a bit different. This is about finding things that broaden your perspective, broaden your horizons there, Cancer. This is the thing you do, or an invitation to kind of break up your routine. Go do something a little bit fun there, Cancer. Go get excited. But also too can be, and also great for planning travel, Cancer. But yeah, just I feel like a time really to really appreciate the abundance of the things that you have been setting off, the abundance that's around you, Cancer. Really just an optimistic day, I feel like, to be just kind of, I don't know, just kind of uplifting and just ready to see what life has to offer you, Cancer. And you know what? If Jupiter's doing a lot, I get it. Big Papa's actually conjunct my ascendant, so I get how that can be sometimes. And if that's doing too much for you, Cancer, then this is a great day for you to go void of course, because the moon is going to be going void of course at about 8:01 p.m., and that will be Pacific time, Cancer. And then she'll be moving from Scorpio. Speaking of Jupiter, moving from Scorpio into the sign that he's a guardianship over, Sagittarius, on Friday, the 29th of March, at about 12:51 p.m. So we're looking at about a 16-hour, 50-minute void of course time there, Cancer. Take care of yourself. And with the void of course energy, this is an invitation for you. This is what happens when the moon forms her final aspect with the celestial body, and then she doesn't have any more. She just kind of takes her time to process the conversations that she's had with those planets at that particular time. Because the moon moving through the planets, or moving through, like, with the sun included in that, but moving through the celestial bodies as fast as she does, she needs that where the sun and the moon don't go retrograde. I feel the moon needs these void of course times because, one minute she's talking with the sun and everything, they have these new conversations at the new moon, then they're talking, they're in the sextile energy, and then we hit that first square, then it's like, what the F? And then we're working out some problem, we're working out some things, we're getting there, then we're at full moon, and it's just like, all right, we got to let something go so that something else can come into there, and then we're waning, and so, and that's just with the sun. And so she's doing this with all of these planets. And that's just to show, Cancer, how sensitive our energies can be when we are tuned into stuff. I've been really, speaking of the energy Scorpio being here, I've been really kind of tuning into Mars a little bit more. He just formed a square just finished up doing an opposition with my Venus placement, and now was forming a square with my moon placement. And yeah, it's been a very, very interesting energy. I've been like he's just been on my radar here so late. But when you pay attention to how these different bodies kind of tune in or affect your energies, it can be a little exhausting sometimes. You can feel like you can be pulled in different types of ways. And that's just with the planets. Then you get to talking about, those planets, you may not even have time to tune into them because you're dealing with all the people that are around you, in your environment, in all of the things, and then processing all of those things and finding a safe space in all of the chaos and having to get out there and be vulnerable and still have that, that sort of Cancerian love and energy, despite all the challenges that may come. So it can be a lot, Cancer. And I feel this energy just invites you to go within, see how you're doing, take some of that nurturing energy and channel that in yourself. See where we may have been kind of escaping some sort of things there, Cancer, where maybe something's been too much to deal, and just kind of give those energies some space. And then watch, and you know what, Cancer? Something really fascinating when I feel like when you sit with a certain emotion and not really giving it any thought, just allowing it to be. And I know that can be hard sometimes. But listen, my moon's in Gemini, and so I'm constantly thinking about my emotions. But the thing with Gemini too is about that. What I've been learning through that energy is like just again, like I was saying, perceiving the energy and watch how it waxes and how it wanes, and how sometimes it can, like I think I may have mentioned how there was one energy here recently where the moon was in Cancer, and I was feeling a lot. I was really kind of deep in it, and then literally the moment the moon moved into Leo, it was like, all right, you're done. Go outside, go play. And so this can be really important for you to tune in to yourself, and not with just the everyday lunar cycle, how that transit affects your own personal moon. It's a whole thing there, Cancer. But also too with the void, of course, and meditation, Cancer, gardening, maybe doing some cooking, or maybe making some music or painting, any sort of thing that's again kind of nurture the soul. And void, of course, energies too, you may notice it. Pay attention when you're starting things off there, Cancer, how your mood is. Similar to like how moon days are on Mondays. But I feel like usually there's, starting things up may be a bit trickier for you. Unless you happen to have been maybe born during a void, of course, energy, which that energy may be familiar for you. That may be the prime time for you to be starting stuff up there, Cancer. So there's something to pay attention to. But also, people may be less likely to make decisions during this time, and that your plans may be subject to unexpected changes. So these are just some things to keep in mind there, Cancer. And then we are in a waning gibbous moon in Scorpio. And, Cancer, I feel with this energy, with the coupling with the void, of course, when I was saying looking at some emotions and watching and just observing how they wax and wane, I feel the moon in Scorpio energy is great for that, and particularly great for those even more kind of intense or in situations. This is not something where we're forcing ourselves, Cancer, but I do feel that this is a space to allow those sort of deeper emotions that may have been pressed down. Maybe we're not sure necessarily how to access them, what they're looking like, or what it maybe is, but just putting that out there, I feel, with the universe, your higher self, your spirit guides, however you connect with Source. And I feel just putting just that invitation that I'm ready to bring some things up to help heal some things to grow from this, because Scorpio energy is very, they're, the transformative sign of the zodiac, but it comes through facing sometimes those more intense types of feelings. And this is not, I don't mean just intense fear and like fear and morbidity things, kind of darker aspects of Scorpio, but be willing to feel things like love and to feel joy. Because the thing with Scorpio is some person I've met that has Scorpio energy is so pleasant. There is that intensity that is there, of course, but Scorpio energy is the reminder that because there is that constant recognition, I feel, maybe of mortality, that allows them to live more passionately, to be more resilient, more driven, to have that power, that intensity, because to have that sort of, I feel like, feeling kind of weighing down on you without letting that bring you to the depths, but allowing that to grow you, to motivate you to do what to, again, face your fears. Scorpio energy is the emotional side of Mars. This is the side of him. It's a familiar place because he's used to, with being in Aries, there's an instinct that goes with that. But now with Scorpio, he is allowing himself to feel a bit more. His intuition is so strong now because he's it's almost like he's really in diving into those depths. He's cleared out a way for source to come in. And so that's what I feel this moon in Scorpio is kind of providing. What things do we need to clear out in order to let source come in? Because this was a very, I feel, kind of intimate moon cycle. With whatever you were setting your intentions for, there is that collaborative work that's going with spirit, that's coming into play with that inner self, that inner motivation. So this is a powerful time or energy, even though the moon is technically in fall in Scorpio. Just because she's, to feel like Scorpio does, it is a lot for the moon. But when she gets on the other side of it, expansion, Sagittarius energy, then she's learned something new about herself that, if I can get through that, I can get through anything, So I like this energy, Cancer. Very, very, very one again. And this is something too to pay attention to. And this is, if you're curious about how this energy is working in your chart, book a reading with me, Cancer. We can talk, because maybe when the moon, because I personally like when the moon is in Scorpio. I really feel when she's formed with my Cancer placements, but with my Leo placements, she's hitting squares with like my Mercury, my Ascendant, Venus, Jupiter, Mars. So it's a mixed bag with the moon in Scorpio. But it's one where when you're aware of that energy, you can work with it differently. You can be more intentional. Okay, maybe I back off a little bit during this time, or maybe I am maybe a little bit more social during this time, or so this is depending on where house you're working in. When she's traveling through Scorpio, she's going through my 4th house. So now that's a time, that's in Pluto's actually in my 4th house. So that's a time in Scorpio. Yeah. So it's a time where it is a bit more introspective. It is a time when there are some things that come up. I do allow that space to kind of sit with that. It is, but again, when you get in your cycle like that, Cancer, it can be it's nice to feel in the flow of your body and feel in tune and feel more in the cycle of you, Cancer. So this could be something where we find your cycle, find your flow, and get you work operating at your most efficient there, Cancer. So see what the map of the blue, you know what I mean, Cancer. Let's move on. But last few things. These readings that I do, they're not gender-specific readings, so apply these energies to people as they make sense for your situations. And then the decks that I'm working with, I've included links to them down in the description box below, so definitely check that out if you're interested. But also down below some links for some other readers that I really enjoy watching their Cancer, so definitely check them out. They're a very intuitive group. I think you'd enjoy them. There is a link for an astrologer as well, some podcasts, some apps, just all sorts of tools and things. I try to, have all these resources for you that Cancer, just so that, if you ever feel interested, want to expand on this more, get to kind of research your stuff on a deeper level, I'll definitely get that hooked up for you there, Cancer. But let's go ahead and get into your general energy there. General energy of the day, Cancer, which you have the Electric Eel Spirit here, which is a card of bring your ideas to life. You know what, Cancer? I like this too, considering with this Scorpio energy, because Scorpio is one where, sometimes I feel we can take for granted sometimes when we're like, oh, I'll do things tomorrow, I'll do this tomorrow. And it's like, okay, that's fine. But what am I doing today? Like knowing I'm not going to have tomorrow, how am I living right now? How am I, and it's not like a YOLO type of energy there, Cancer. That's not what I mean. It's more so just like, am I really, do I feel driven by what I'm doing? Are there secret, when you think about Scorpio and I feel like secrecy, I feel like, are there parts of ourselves that have we been keeping repressed? Have we been wanting to maybe go become a spelunker? That was actually one of my words of the day, Cancer, so I felt appropriate to use that. Or maybe you want to go and be a monk. Maybe you want to go be a minister. Maybe you want to go be a politician. Whatever this is looking like, are you living in that truth? That's where this, and the nice thing I feel like with this energy, because Scorpio is ruled by Mars and Pluto is that claim of power. There's something really empower. It's invigorating when you are walking in your power, Cancer. When I feel like when you're in real strong resonance with yourself on something there, that's what I feel like this Scorpio energy is trying to invite you to. What are some ideas maybe that you've been, oh, I'll get to that eventually. Maybe you've been wanting to learn guitar. Maybe you've been wanting to travel to China. And I know that there are, of course, circumstances and things along those lines, but Scorpio is a very honest sign as well, and this is a time to be, look at things where, sure, we have finances and things. Think about trips that we want to take. Well, where can we budget more? Because Scorpio is about finances as well. Where are we spending our energies? And so that could be something where maybe I need to cut back a little bit here, a little bit there, put something aside and watch it actually grow so that the dream can become a bit more tangible, as opposed to, just leaving it a possibility, or leaving it in that ether, or leaving it kind of vague there, Cancer. So this can be a time where, even thinking about lunar intentions, are we setting goals that are practical, something that is achievable, something that is scalable? You're able to see how, okay, I'm going to do at least 10 minutes of meditation a day, or I'm going to, and is that sustainable with where my schedule is? Something changes, okay, the square comes in, the challenges, okay, what parts, where do I need to give to make this practice worth? Is this worth working in? Sometimes we tweak, sometimes we carry things over, sometimes we need to revisit past cycles, but it is about that maintenance, Cancer. And the more that you get into these little things, these bigger things start to happen. And so this is a very kind of, I like this energy, Cancer. It's a very grounding type of energy here, bringing your ideas to life, your intentions to life. Oh, wow. All right, hold on, Cancer. We'll talk about that in a moment. I dig this energy, Cancer. Thank you, herself. Let's see what's going on here. Oh, Pisces. Oh, a lot of majors here, Cancer. Yourself's ready to get cooking. So you have the Hermit, Virgo energy, and the World, Saturn energy in reverse here. And then you have the Hierophant, Taurus, the Moon, Pisces, and then the Nine of Swords upright. Now, Cancer, With the Nine of Swords, this is a card can represent fears, anxieties, things that keep you up at night, things that we may have regret that we wish we could have done back in such and such time, but due to such and such circumstances now, things are not possible. It's elusive, it's out of your way, it's unattainable. And I feel that when we put ourselves there, Cancer, it's a very disheartening place. And you know, because this world card here, it's like something here is about like revisiting some things that haven't been completed there, Cancer. You know, maybe this was a maybe this was a poem that you wanted to start, or maybe a book, or maybe even like a movie, like writing a scene for that, or maybe there's a class of you wanted to always be, you know, get into mechanics, or whatever this is, Cancer. You know, Saturn can be a very, you know, when you think about the disciplines, the responsibilities that Saturn asks us to do, it's an initiation, you know, with the Hierophant being here. The Hierophant, I feel, and Saturn with the world here, they want you to really kind of reflect on what you're capable of. You know, where we may be limiting ourselves due to maybe certain fears, maybe it's like, you know, the stress of it all, maybe the big picture of it's so broad. And that's where I feel that's where the lunar cycles, when the big picture seems, or when it's like when an idea seems too big, then let's push it a little bit. How do we dissect this into smaller increments? You know, when I'm working with like my charts, for example, I have like a solar return chart, and I'll write down some notes that I feel like are some key themes that I feel are going to be for me to pay attention to. And then I have like, I keep track of my lunar my lunar return, which, you know, the solar returns for the year, and then the lunar return I keep it month by month. And so that's something to keep in mind of what are some themes to look at this year. You know, where am I focusing at emotionally? What are maybe some new habits I can integrate to kind of get in the flow towards this energy? But I do feel that if there's something here, again, that we're fearing, it's very interesting because the Hermit and Pisces, the Hermit and the Moon, Pisces and Virgo, they're opposite signs of the zodiac. And so I feel that there's this trying to integrate whatever this reason is, this fear, this anxiety, and channeling in that energy into something constructive, bringing these ideas to life. Because again, Mars takes those in. When he's in that Scorpio energy, he's taking these emotions. Oh, I want to go be this. Then I'm going to go do that. I'm not going to think about it because this is something that I want. This is something that, and again, something that's raising your vibration there, Cancer. You know, like I want to become a teacher, or I want to go learn about this, or, you know, I want to, you know, again, how are you showing up for today? And, you know, and it's, and again, it's not for it to be morbid, but when you're thinking about like in that Scorpio type, in that intense sort of fashion, you know, I'm not going to live forever. Am I doing, or at least, you know, live forever in this vessel, on this, in this specific, with this specific energy that I'm working with right now? How am I showing up? You know, what are some things that I may have been escaping from? You know, some things that you've been wanting to explore. And it's not, you know, beating yourself up, oh, I could have did this. It's just like, well, you know what? Circumstances were different, but now things are different now too. You know, and it may not be exactly how you would have done it then, but it's still attainable. The world is here. We can still close that chapter out. You know, we can see what that's looking like. You know, it's the orchestra is wanting to be written there, Cancer. I like that. It's like if Beethoven never released any of his music. You know, and this doesn't have to be anything where I feel like it's, you know, achieving fame. This is just doing stuff for you, Cancer, and seeing how it makes you feel. Enjoy yourself. Oh, what's good, girl? So you have Cancer, our lovely guardian here, the High Priestess, and the Star card, which is the Moon, and then the Star card here, Aquarius, upright. And then you have one of our cards for me, Cancer, the Queen of Moons, the Knight of Wands, and the Six of Swords in reverse here, Cancer. And the Six of Swords, I feel like this is the energy of when I'm picturing Cancer, because usually there's this person that's in a boat on the Six of Swords, and I'm picturing you. It's like you've packed up all your stuff. You got to the port. You're getting ready to get on the boat, but then something freaks you out. Something happens, and then we lose this will in a sense. Whatever that may be, Cancer, I feel like that Scorpio energy is wanting you to look into that a little bit more. Maybe what are some fears that we wanted to release? This full moon that we just had not too long ago, that was a time of, their time of release, a time for making space for new, for seeing where maybe there were certain, maybe the time at the time when we weren't pursuing that thing, maybe there were some things that you were growing from, Cancer, that you were experiencing, that you were finding yourself. But the star card is a wish. Look at this hand reaching towards this dream. What is it that you want to bring to life there, Cancer? I almost feel like this is you getting ready to start like a big bang. Something that is boom. Something really cool, Cancer. Something that I feel like maybe seems small in the moment, but I just feel like it opens up something new for you. You seeing things. Look at your third eye opening up here with the moon. This feels like you start paying attention more so to those intuitive nudges. Okay, try this thing, Cancer. Like let's do this sort of thing, or like let's get into this creative space and then see what comes back towards you there, Cancer. But all right, Cancer. Let's get some advice from Pluto and Mars. Alrighty, Cancer. Take care of yourself. Last little bit here. Alright, so you have... Oh, I love when you sync up with the energies there, Cancer, and a little more opposition work here. So here's Scorpio, the death card, and I love that moon in Scorpio here. And then you have the two of stars. Yeah, two stars and death card upright. And then you have and the Five of Wands, Cancer. I'm getting it together. And then you have the Five of Stars, the Ten of Swords, and the Seven of Stars in reverse here, Cancer. And let's switch back over. Because Cancer, this Five of Stars in reverse, Five of Wands energy, I feel that this is the Five of Wands feels like the idea that we're wanting to pursue. But the Five of Stars, I feel there's this energy of we're focusing on what we don't have for it. Maybe you don't feel this enough, not even feel like what we don't, and that like not just physically, like as far as like maybe resources or this or that. It's like maybe you don't feel like, oh, maybe I'm not young enough, or maybe I'm not old enough, or maybe I'm not this enough, or I'm not that enough. And it's like you're absolutely enough. If we never invest in it and try it, Cancer, Seven of Stars, we'll never know. And there might be something where you may fail at it, Cancer, where it may not hit like you thought it was going to, but at least you know that it can hit, that it can land. And I feel this Ten of Swords here is not looking at your limitations with the Ten of Swords as something that is hindering you, but looking at it as an invitation to try something different, to try a different approach and do it in a way I feel like that changes the game up for you, Cancer, and maybe even potentially for others, and whatever that's looking like. Maybe, I mean, well, that may not be the best example, but I do feel with the death card here that if you maybe try this, Cancer. Whatever this is that we're doing, maybe you want to run a marathon and you've never run a day in your life. All right, let's set some time for walking first. Let's get around the block, or let's go. And if we're feeling good about a block, let's do 2 blocks. Oh, okay, block and a half. That's feeling great. Let's go back. And then build up from that. And then keep building for that. And then when it gets too tough, work it out a little bit. Okay, then we push. It's like working out. Last little thing, Cancer. It reminds me of, I've always been like big on, or not always, I used to be big on like running and all this stuff. So my legs are always really strong, but my upper body I barely put any attention to. So now I've been kind of working that out. I'm like, we're going to lift some stuff. And it's like, there's some days I'm like, I hear what other people lift. I'm like, man, I'm not even anywhere near that. But then I thought, but you know what though? I am a lot better than that I was. And this is a reminder where maybe it's time to push a little bit. Sometimes a little discomfort. Yes, we got to keep mind to form and things as well. But, it's the idea of like, okay, I may have only been able to do 1, but at least I can do 1. That's dope. Now watch me do 2. And then when I'm doing 20, I'm going to be like, okay, it'll be time to take it to the next thing. And it's always going to be more, Cancer, when we're bringing these things to life and doing this stuff. But I feel like it may not necessarily get easier, but it feels like it gets easier because now you're in the flow. I feel like, oh, okay, it's time to do this. Oh, okay, it's time to pull back a little bit. So. All right, Cancer, I think I'm going to leave that there. So if you like that, Cancer, or if anything resonated with you, give it a thumbs up. And share this, Cancer, if you know someone who may be holding their ideas to themselves, being stingy, not sharing with the soul tribe, sharing their gifts, being a star. Absolutely. Let's get them out there, completing to the world there, Cancer, contributing to the change. And yeah, I was listening to a podcast not too long ago, Cancer, a couple of them, and the way they were talking got me thinking about some real kind of deep stuff here. And so, but yeah, Cancer, and then subscribe, High Priestess. Hit that bell button. You notify all these videos each week or each day, every week. And last few things that, Cancer, after we do get done checking your chart there, figuring out what are some tools that you're working with there, maybe. And, Cancer, when you're thinking about a chart, I like the way this one astrologer talked about it. It's like, some days it's like I need to call on my, moon in the 10th house for this energy. Or there's sometimes I need to like, oh, that Jupiter conjunct my ascendant energy would be great for this time if I were to really kind of turn it on. Or let me really be in. Or it's like, oh, someone's feeling something. Let me get him the sun in Cancer and let me kind of get into this. And how can I learn with my Chiron in Cancer? It's like these tools that are in your tool belt, and when I feel you approach life with those tools, it's just like it feels a lot more in sync. You're like, you become aware of where you're out of balance and where you're out of flow and where there is resistance. So, after we get done checking your chart there, Cancer, you can come over to my other channel, Alchemist 8. I do weekly videos there talking about the transit. That's more for the soul tribes. That's more of a collective type of video. Then I do monthly ones when the sun moves into a different sign. And that one that's one more Zodiac specific. And then I do yearly ones as well. That's for kind of like the solar return energy. And that's something that we were talking about earlier that Cancer we could do together. And all that housekeeping is down in the description box below. But let me get your surprise cards here, Cancer. Ooh, so I can get you out of here. Look at you, King of Stars. I like this, Cancer, because I feel with this King of Stars, it's actually interesting. Sometimes when I was thinking about with the full moon, and it's like, making space, where do we almost like letting go of, in a sense. I feel that, especially if you have something that you're wanting to express, that you're wanting to build, that can be something that you're making space for, Cancer. You're letting go of that idea from being in here and letting that manifest so that more can, look at the stars pouring in through your crown chakra, Cancer. I love that the sacred geometry here, fine downloads that's coming to you. But I feel in order to keep receiving those flows, we have to express that energy some. And it may not be something that someone sees, Cancer. This could be journaling, this could be something. But it's just, I feel like just so that it's out there, so that it's grounded. And who knows, maybe no one's seeing it right now, but maybe that changes. They may see it in your personality and how you approach life and things, Cancer. It can be something where you just seem more stable, more abundant, more in tune, more grounded, Cancer. The King of Stars, he's the one, talk about bringing ideas to life. The King of Stars that's King Manifester right there. He is brilliant with the energies. And so I feel this is, again, not necessarily that you need to capitalize on an idea, Cancer, but I feel like doing something where you can feel, oh, I love this, in more abundance. Thank you, higher self. Because, Cancer, you have the Bounteous card here, which is a card of generously given, relationships, and coming together. And Cancer, I feel like as you bring your ideas to life, things do start coming together. It's just like the energies start to flow. You create a relationship with your source, with the environment, with the cycles, and then you are generously given too, because you are, I feel, generously giving. The King of Pentacles is not afraid of giving because he knows that he's going to be at the same time there's something that is coming to replace that energy too. So he's this idea of just like, just something very, very stable, I feel, can come here, even if it's just like emotional stability. Maybe this is spiritual stability, this could be physical, financial stability, whatever this is looking like. And this may be something too, Cancer, even just thinking about the relationships, because there's been a lot of stuff talking about as far as like there's collaborative energy sort of on and off. So this is not with someone. I do feel like this is with Source, Cancer. This is, just getting in touch with that spirituality while that's still the focus. Because I feel that, again, once Neptune moves, that's another one I've been kind of locked in with here. She's just kind of softly in orbit there. Well, because she's forming a triangle with my Chiron, which is kind of cool. But this has been a wonderful time for water placements and stuff. And granted, it'll still be a wonderful time for your fire placements there too, Cancer, what she moves into, which I'm kind of excited for. That'll be a bonus. She'll be lighting up all my Leo placements. But I think you get what I'm going at with this, Cancer, so I think I'm going to leave that there. But you stay safe out there, Cancer. With all this abundance and these ideas that you have, bring them to life there, Cancer. This is the time, live in the present. Scorpio is very present energy. Yes, we can. It's nice to plan for tomorrow. It's nice to plan for the future. But what are we doing right now to get towards that future, that energy there? Keep eyes on the moon there, Cancer. That's always a great way too, even when you're thinking about astrology and things. It's one thing to look at, like, a chart or read all this stuff, but connect with rise up with the sun, getting in a sunset there, Cancer. Feel that energy invigorating you. If you think about what you're feeling, you look up at the moon, Cancer. And then maybe, if you're able to find a place to go observe, like when there are other planets are visible, and really connect with this, Cancer. I'm with it. And I will catch you on the next one tomorrow.